G'day all, it's Colin from PC TLC and thanks for joining me. Today we're going to have a look at saving a custom panel layout. So let's get started. The first things we need to think about is which panel layout are we going to use as our base, and we'll use that base to achieve our custom panel layout. Now there's a few things to consider, and I started doing this on my Ubuntu look around video, but it didn't go according to plan, so I just left it and thought I'd do a separate video about it. So what we need to do is we need to go to Mate tweak. Now we're on the familiar at the moment. If we change to, I like the mutiny, but there's a couple of things we need to look at with the mutiny, and this is one of them. What I'm going to try and do is I want this mutiny style dot panel on the side, like the Unity style, but I want this panel here down the bottom. Now the thing is with the mutiny is it has this button layout here built into the panel. Now I'm not sure whether we can minimize or unmaximize there. Now we can probably, and you've got the global menu going on here as well as the other thing. Now do we want those? I'm not sure. Can I remove this button panel? It's locked to the panel, so if I remove that, then now how do I unmaximize this window? I'm not sure. We can do it there, and we can probably, there's no unmaximized choice there. We can quit that, and then we can probably open it back up. Now it's still full screen. So this is the problem I have with this one. So I don't know how to. So the only thing we can do is add the panel and put the window list buttons, Windows buttons applet back in, and there it is. We can probably move that. It was probably all the way. I don't know why it does that. Why does it do that? I don't know. Remove that from panel. Oh, there we go. Now we've got this button back. I don't know what that was all about. So we'll move that to the corner. It's just the way it's been set up. And then if we add to panel the global menu again, now that button's disappeared again. Global application menu. Close that. Okay, now it's working. Alright, so I don't know whether I want that these buttons here. So for some reason, taking away that button applet doesn't bring the buttons back into the window on full screen. So it must be just the way that they've got this mutiny set up. So, okay, so I've explained that. So what I think we'll do is we'll change this to, because I want this full screen. So the other one that's got the full screen is the Cupertino, I believe. Let's have a look. So Cupertino has the full screen. Now I don't want the dock. So if we go to tweak, go to Windows, panel, uncheck enable dock, that takes away your dock. Now full screen Windows keeps the buttons within the window. That's fine. It has the global menu set up. Now whether you want that or not is a personal choice. So if we go to preferences, sorry, this panel's a bit annoying too, because this global menu seems to take up the whole panel. So I can't find choices for the panel with this menu here. So first of all, what I think we need to do is unlock it, move it, okay, now we've got panel choices. So we go to properties, we put the panel down the bottom like so. Now we unlock this menu and we remove that from the panel. We'll add to panel, show desktop. Right click and move that into the corner. Move this one. This one's a strange one. You really got to drag over to get a hold of this thing and then take it back. So actually, I'm not finished with this yet, so we'll move that back here. See, when you move this, when selecting move, it just defaults right into that corner. You've got to scroll all the way over to here before it starts moving. So this part of the global menu takes up all the panel, no matter where it is. So once you move it away from here, you've got a gap. You can do things with that panel, you can work with it. So what we're going to do is to add a new panel, you've got to right click on an existing panel and select new panel. Now it's created a new panel up the top. We're going to go to properties and put that to the left. We're going to make that 66 because that is the size of the dock on the Mutiny layout is 66. So that's just to have a look at that. And what we'll also do is auto hide, and we'll auto hide the panel. Okay, like so. Close, close. Okay, so that's our global menu, which normally would probably be better suited up the top. So let's remove the global menu, and the menus are back inside the windows, probably best. And we'll add to panel Windows list. So window list, add that, move that over to there, leave a small gap, close that. Now we've got this one here, we add to panel a dock, add, and there's our dock. Then we add, add to panel Brisk menu, add, there's our Brisk menu, we'll move that to the top, and we'll just offset it from the top a little bit, and we will lock that to the panel, and we'll move this dock up there as well, give a small gap as well, and we'll lock that to panel. So let's have a look at what we've got so far. We've got the dock here, full screen menu. Well, actually that dock, I might unlock that and just move that up just a little bit more. Yeah, because it fits in with the panel there, so that looks better. Okay. Let's move the dock up a bit as well. Oh. Okay, so we'll lock those, lock the panel, and lock the panel. Now on the dock, if we go to dock preferences, I have already set in previous settings, change panel color to match and so forth. So okay, so on our Windows we have buttons on the left. Now you can go to the tweak tool, go to Windows, and you can put your buttons on the right. Now when you save this, that probably won't save, but once you've saved your panel layout, change that, and once you restart it'll remain on the right. So even after restart it still stays the same. So let's close that. Let's close that. So let's just go back over this. We've got a show desktop and everything else, the indicators down here. My running app as well, simple screen recorder. We can minimize and maximize our windows like so. And we've got super key. And if we want to open Firefox, remember that's from the menu number 1, number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So even if they're not pinned, they are part of the super and numbered system. So Firefox will be the Windows key or the super key number 1. It'll open Firefox. And number 2 is the writer. So if I went super key number 2, that should open the writer. Yes, it has. So what else have we got there? This one here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's number 7 is the terminal. So we didn't see the terminal open there, although it's open, it didn't come to the forefront. That's a bit strange. So we've got 1 and 3, I think. If we go to 1, and we can go to 3. Oh no, we had number 2 open. Number 7, okay. So it is a Windows, it is a applet launcher and an applet switcher. So that's pretty handy. Probably makes sense to have the buttons on the left at the end of the day because you are working with this panel here. So let's just see if that panel's changing. Sorry, wrong setting. I want to go to dock preferences, panel options, change the color. I'm not quite sure if that's working. So if we go to the properties of the panel and we go to background, it's a solid color. So it's a solid color, it's a greyish color, and we change the transparency to 50%, say. Now that should show more of the background. So if we change the background back to that one, so it's changed with the background, that's good. It's probably the transparency that does that anyway. So let's try that one. Yep. So that's nice. Okay, that's a little bit bright. That's nice. So did we lock this one in place? No, we haven't locked at the panel yet. We've locked these ones. So if we want to move that, can we move it any closer? Yes, we can. Let's move it as far as we can, close to the show desktop button, and we'll lock that to panel. So that's delete this panel, we don't need it. Okay, so now we've got all that going on now. Our places, so we can minimize and maximize. Before we couldn't do that, just if it's on there it just opens another instance. So we need the availability of minimizing and maximizing, which is what the Windows list does for you. That one took a while to close. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to Tweak, Panel. Now we turned the dock off, so that's all right. And we did have, just to confirm that our maximize is there, yep, and these menus are working fine, yep. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to save as, and I'll call it my mutiny, and click OK. Panel layout saved. Okay. So what we want to do now is we go back to the familiar and change it all back up again. Now that's a familiar desktop. So this desktop here is pretty close anyway. But it'd be interesting to know how we get the expanded Brisk menu overlay on another panel layout. It's interesting to know how that works. Oh, I'm not quite sure. But anyway, we shall go to the tweak tool. Again, go to panel, and we select our mutiny. And it has got the buttons on the right, so okay, that's good. Then it's got the buttons on the right, no problem. So I think if you saved, you can, if you want the buttons on the left, you just go to tweak tool and put the buttons on the left. Done deal. So that doesn't need to be part of the saved structure anyway, but it'll remain the same whatever you select. So that's how you save a panel layout, especially if you like it a bit more custom to what's on offer. That's the best way to do it. So you can remove your dock, you can make it. Now on here, you've got the option now right down the bottom to go to the panel properties, and you can probably turn off auto hide if you don't want it on. At least now we've got an option, a small area we can click to get into the panel properties at least. So it wouldn't be Linux without a twist. So I've actually restarted my computer and missing a dock, and this Brisk menu has gone to back to regular size. So what I've had to do is I've installed in here, if we have a look in the menu, Decomp this one here. So how you go about that is we look for terminal. Well, that's the way I did it, but you could also use the Synaptic Package Manager. Put in my password. Just do a search for Decomp-Editor. Search for that. And then just click on that, right click and mark for installation, which is grayed out because it's already installed, and then just click apply. So the way I did it was I did a sudo apt install decomp editor. That's how I installed it. Just arrow up to get to your last command. So what we're going to do here with the decomp editor is I did a search for Brisk menu, and there it is there. So click on that once. What we have down here is window type. So click on that. Now we have the default, the default is classic. So you've got to turn that off, click on this and click on dash. Click the tick to save it. Now it won't change straight away. I think you need to log out. The other thing is my dock has gone missing. So I'll add the dock back in there. Okay, so that's everything I had in the dock by the looks of it. So let's move that back up to there. And lock that into place. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to log out and log back in and see how we're traveling. Right, so I logged out and logged back in, but my dock disappeared again, so I did a complete restart and now the dock is back. So I don't know what was going on there, so obviously there's a little bit of strangeness going there. Now I've got full screen back, the full screen menu back, and now the Windows key is not working as well, so I don't know what's going on there. It opens it, but it doesn't close it back again. Okay, so what I've discovered is the super key here, as you can see now, on, off. Now, I don't know whether there's an active bug around for Mate, but if you switch on your num lock to lock your number key, it'll open the menu, but it won't close. You can press escape, that'll close. Open with the super key, it close with escape. Now if I turn my num lock back off, then it opens and closes with the super key. It's a bug that I might have to file with Ubuntu Mate. I'll have to go and check out their bugs, their bug list, and see whether that's actually in there. So I just thought I'd share that one with you. I decided to not keep the rubbish bin didn't show back up because it wasn't part of the saved custom save. So if you add rubbish bin on there, which was there before, add to panel, rubbish bin. I went right past it. And rubbish bin is down there, so you got your right click options and so forth. So, but you can't get anywhere where, oh, you can get just in the corner there, you can get a menu for the panel. So, but that, once I restart, that's not going to be there because it wasn't part of the saved. So if you save it as part of this, if you go to your tweak, and you save this panel layout, I've found that things don't quite work out. You're going to have to go back to the contemporary like I did at the start of this one and start again and add the rubbish bin in. And because I've noticed that I'm not quite sure whether things save with a custom save. You can try it, it might work. I'm not quite sure whether it does work or not, but you can give it a go. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add the same. I've started again with Cupertino. What we're going to do is a couple of adjustments here. So I'm going to move this out of the way for starters. We're going to add new panel. And we right click on that panel, go to properties, and we uncheck expand, which makes it a small panel in the middle. So you can show hide buttons. Those buttons. Okay, so let's have a look at what those buttons do. So they just show buttons, so that's all it does. So go back to properties, let's hide the buttons. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to add to panel the global menu. So we'll add the global menu. And we can grab this panel, we can put it anywhere we like. So we'll stick it in that corner there. And also, if we can go to properties, we'll make it auto hide. So that panel's auto hiding. Now, well, actually, maybe we'll just stick that panel just to the left of the, to the left there is better. Now, I'm not sure if we can, we go to the properties of that panel. Not sure if we can lock that panel in place. Okay, so that it'll probably stay where it's been put anyway. So now what we have to do is on the buttons on that little dotted line there, right click and hit preferences. Actually, I'll explain why I'm doing this first. So if we go full screen, if we open up this window here, we've got new and quit. That's it. That's all we've got on there, nothing else. So what we need to do is go right click and hit preferences and check this use compact mode. Then what that will do is that will enable you to now have all the menus available as a global menu, but it's in a compact mode. So everything else is available still, just compact. So if we full screen that, we can still get to that. It's not a problem. So not a problem at all. So now we've got a global menu up the top there, which we get more screen real estate. Well, probably not because we've still got the buttons there, so, but we have the global menu. Now we only get more real estate when the buttons are up there, so we could probably put the buttons up there, but we could probably try that. Should we try that? Let's try it. Add to panel. Window buttons applet, add. And you got your buttons there. But we've still got buttons in the window, so that doesn't really work really effectively, does it? So what we need to do is full screen that and remove from panel. This one here will lock to the panel. Okay. Just make sure that's locked, yep. Okay. So what we're going to do now is this show desktop lock to panel. We're going to here add to panel a separator. So what this separator does is right click on that separator and move it. About there will be good enough. Now we right click and lock that to the panel, and then when we move this one over, it can't go any further, although I didn't think it could go past the separator because it's locked, but it still does. So the separator is locked to the panel, but we'll move that just as far as it can go without going past, which is there, and then we'll lock that to the panel as well. So now we have full screen that, and we got the global menu going on there, if the global menu is what you're after. And we also got our Windows list down here with the show desktop. So that's pretty much how that works. Now, whether we want this global menu to sit further here or not, it seems to be a little bit finicky there, so we'll just move it there. Will do. Okay, so what we'll do now is we'll go to tweak. Mate tweak, go to panel, save as, my Unity global, so we know it's got the global global menu up the top left hand corner and click OK. So panel is saved. Now I've had a few issues with the saving of the full screen menu. Now I did change the full screen menu on my other one, which with the Decomp Editor, in the Brisk menu, and this one is set to dash. So I'm not sure, when it's set to dash, the default is classic. I did try setting this to automatic, but the full screen menu on automatic keeps coming back to the smaller standard menu. So I thought that might have solved the problem. But what we probably have going on now is if I go to a layout that doesn't have the small menu, or that does have the small menu, sorry. So if I go to Netbook, I know for a fact that that has the small Brisk menu. It's got the full screen. But that's okay if you're not changing desktops. That's not a problem. But if at any time you want to change back to the classic, then you can just set it back to default. But I find that no matter what setting I use, on my settings, it keeps going back to the smaller menu. So we have to do that adjustment in the Decomp Editor. We have to make that adjustment for our saved panel layout for that reason. I don't know if there's a way around that or not. I'm not sure, but it works for the saved panel layout, but then you've got full screen for the others. So to finish off this video, I'll take you over the changes I've made, and the changes I have made, we'll just check that out. First of all, with the Decomp Editor, with the Brisk menu under the window type, I've changed the custom value to automatic, and now things seem to be changing the way or the behavior of the panel layouts are as expected. And if we check out this one here, this is full screen with the window key or super key on and off, except if I turn numlock on, the behavior of that changes for some reason. We shall go to the tweak tool and we shall check the netbook, which I know has a small menu. So we'll go to there, and the menu is the smaller one. That's working as expected. We go to Redmond, change it to Redmond, and that has the original Mint menu. That all works well. Traditional. The traditional menu was the traditional, which is that three-tiered menu there. Pantheon, I believe, has the small Brisk menu. Yep. The netbook has the small one as well. The Cupertino has full screen. Nice. Contemporary has the smaller one. As you can see, the panel behavior and the Brisk menu behavior is as expected to be. So my Mutiny, that's the one with the hidden menu here, full screen. Well, see, now that's not full screen. So that's the behavior sometimes you can get. And I've got my Unity Global. Now see, now that's changed. See, that behavior hasn't happened. So what's happened there is after making all the changes to the desktops there, that suddenly happened. So I'm going to restart and see if that comes back to the normal behavior. So I have restarted and the result is it's still the same. So I don't know why that's happening. And this is what happened to me before, and then I had to start doing a heap of testing to work out why. So I'll go to my mutiny since I've restarted the computer. I have a feeling it's the constant changing of the panel layouts could be causing this issue. So once it's set up, it's probably, you know, under normal behavior you wouldn't be changing this much anyway. So yeah, it's still the same. So we'll go back to Decomp Editor and have a look at that and make sure the setting, okay. So what's happened here is under the Decomp Editor the setting has somehow changed itself back to classic rather than automatic. So why it's done that I don't know. So let's change it to automatic. I'll close that up and I shall restart and see what's going on. Okay, so after restarting, I have my full screen menu back again. So, so the result here is if you are going to continuously change through different panel layouts, then for some reason that seems to change that setting in the Decomp Editor back to classic. So I don't know why, but if you have issues like that, just come back in here and set that back to automatic. Like I said, you won't be changing panel layouts as aggressively as what I've done on this video. So let's just check that all's running well. And I'm on my mutiny, so I'll change it to my Unity Global. And we'll just check that that's still running as expected. And full screen. So this has probably turned out to be a longer video than expected. It wasn't meant to be anywhere near this long, but it's good to put forward the issues that you can have and how to solve them. It's always good to know how to solve these issues. Because it's had me a little bit confused for a little while why I kept changing this full screen, kept changing back to the full screen menu, kept changing back to the smaller menu. So now I know. And also we had the problem with the Windows key not closing the menu when the numlock was on, so that was another issue. So so hopefully that's all solved now. If anyone else is having this issue, yep, that would be the reason why. So kudos to this Ubuntu Mate, because there's so much going on this desktop with all the layouts that those couple of issues are very, very small in comparison to what's going on here. So it's good to know that we can save a layout that's completely different to what's on offer, and still know that it can be reasonably stable, and just there's a couple of slight issues that can be sorted. So yep, that's saving a custom panel layout. So I hope you enjoyed the video, hope you found it useful, and thanks for watching.